Bill and Becky Wallace with their children Lauren and Jessie. It's hard to believe that this is a family recovering from trauma. But their story is typical of thousands of cases where the satanic memories of a close relative have been reported to the authorities by a therapist.
Yes, I win, I win, I win, I win.
The Child Protection Squad, San Diego County. This is an emergency response. A child is thought to be in imminent danger. And so it was over a year ago when a report came in from her sister's therapist that Becky and her husband Bill were about to sacrifice their son Jesse to Satan. At 1:30 a.m. on a Sunday morning, 3 detectives and 2 armed police officers entered this home. Bill and Becky remember the flashing lights and the sound of sirens. They remember being taken aside by 2 of the detectives while the third walked straight past them towards the children's room.
One of the detectives, Detective Pitcher, went in and they woke the kids up, and the other 2 detectives took Bill and Bill outside, and they said that they were going to be taking the children, and we could either make it easy on our children or difficult. It was up to us, but either way they were going to take them.
Did they give you any reasons? Did they explain why they were taking away your children in the middle of the night?
No, they didn't give us any reason at all, and we kept asking them, why, what's this about?
They just said either way, you can make it easy or hard, but either way they're taking them.
They just took them away.
Shortly before 2 a.m., the children were taken here to the Hillcrest Receiving Home, San Diego County. On average, 450 children are brought through here every month, genuine victims of neglect, cruelty, and sexual molestation. Child abuse is real. But was this the place to bring Lauren and Jessie for psychiatric interviews and medical examinations at 2 a.m. on a Sunday morning?
I called Hillcrest Receiving Home 3 times that Sunday, and they said that we should call on Monday to get an appointment with the social worker. And we went down there Monday morning, and they told us that the kids had already been placed in a confidential foster home on Sunday. They were already gone.
When did you first learn what you'd been accused of?
Well, the first time was from a phone call from the social worker, and he said that there had been a phone call and that we had been accused of planning to sacrifice our son on or near his birthday, which coincided with the fall equinox.
Did that make any sense?
None at all. I didn't even know what the fall equinox was.
And who were you supposing to sacrifice Jesse to?
He didn't say.
It was part of a satanic ritual, so I guess Satan.
And does Satan and satanic rituals, does that make any sense to you?
No.
We never heard of anything like this, ever.
And who was responsible for that phone call to the police?
Candace Young, my sister's therapist. My sister Rachel's psychologist called and said that Rachel had told her that we were going to make Jesse a human sacrifice on or before his birthday. I think it's amazing that a therapist who'd never met us or seen our children or had any contact with us at all could start this big ball rolling.
Did the police make any serious attempt to hear your side of the story?
No.
Not the night they took them. They wouldn't listen. They didn't spend 5 minutes with us.
Detective Pitcher, who removed the children from their beds, of all the key people involved, including Rachel and her therapist, Detective Pitcher was the only one who agreed to talk to us, provided that we limited the discussion to Satanists in general.
I think that there is a network. I think that it's like any other organization that you would see, or any other church, as far as the ability to communicate. And it seems from that experience that it does cross all the state lines and even internationally.
Have you ever successfully prosecuted a satanic coven?
I have not had a case where we have actually been able to prosecute a whole coven. It's my cases were dealing with individuals.
Individuals killing children?
Not any evidence that we had that they killed any children.
When a therapist tells you that a child is about to be abused by its satanic parents, what corroborative evidence do you need before you can take that child out of its home?
In a situation like that, there are certain guidelines that we have to go by law. And in situations where we do remove children from their homes, we have to do an investigation first.
There was no investigation at all done by the Escondido Police Department or by the San Diego Police Department or Child Protective Services before these children were picked up. None.
Donnie Cox, Bill and Becky's lawyer.
When they picked the kids up, the night that they picked them up, they didn't look under the beds for robes and stuff like that. They simply went out and picked these children up. They had determined before they went to Bill and Rebecca's house that evening that they were going to take these kids. The decision that they were Satanists was made before any investigation was done.
And when the investigation did begin, the net widened to include this harbor, where David Steck's, father to Becky and Rachel, moors his yacht. His younger daughter and her therapist had identified him as the satanic grand wizard who had masterminded the plot to sacrifice little Jessie. One damning piece of evidence soon convinced the investigators they were on the scent. The name of David's yacht is Witchway.
I thought that was really pretty funny in view of the fact that the boat was named the Witchway by not myself nor the person that I bought the boat from, but by the person who was the owner of this boat before him. Even one of the police officers went so far as to tell one of our attorneys that I probably bought the boat from another cult member. That's why this was passed along with this name. I mean, that's absolutely absurd.
How can you respond to people who take that kind of thing seriously? These folks have left their common sense at the door.
How do you think your younger daughter Rachel could have come to believe that you were some satanic wizard about to sacrifice your little grandson to Satan?
She's been duped. She's been duped. She's been one who I think has never really accepted responsibility for her own life and has constantly refused to grow up and look for and continues to look for people to sympathize with her.
This kind of thing can happen to anybody. It can happen to any person who has children and who has a friend or a relative who is going through this kind of outrageous psychological therapy.
After your children were taken away from you, how long was it before you saw them again?
13 days.
13 days. And what state were they in?
Just they weren't even the same kids.
How do you mean?
They were sick.
Right.
And they just, when we finally saw them at Hillcrest Receiving Home, they ran over to us. And we all just fell on the floor. We were all just hugging, for a really long time. And then they said, well, they took us back to a little room, and we only got to see them for an hour. And Lauren just kept looking at us like she couldn't believe we were there. And we brought some stuff for the kids, Lauren's magazine, Ladybug, that she just loved, and a photo album that I'd put together for her. And they wouldn't let us give them to Lauren and Jessie until they were able to look through it for satanic messages.
And did they find any satanic messages?
No.
And every time we went to see them, we had the hour a week. Every time they were sick. Really, really badly sick.
One time, Jessie had a complete breakdown where he just cried and cried.
Becky was just devastated. She went to bed. She couldn't get up. She just stayed in bed crying. It was really hard for us then.
When I was in bed, I brought some of the kids' stuffed animals in with me, and I would just sleep with them. And just, dream and wish that they were home, And pictures, we had pictures all over, and,
There was nothing you could do.
there wasn't anything we could do. We tried everything to get them back.